Have we got people live there? Yes, I think we're live. Hiya. Hello, mate. How you doing? How are you? All right? What's that say? Let's have a little look at that from Ron. Right. Oi, happy Friday. Get your orders in.
Blue pills are not free.
Ron, when are you going to actually come down and see us, eh? When are we going to actually see you come down to AAC? It'd be lovely sometime to see. I'd come up and see you, actually. I've promising Angela for years about going up to see you in Scotland. Anyway, thank you, everyone who's joined to the stream this morning. We were hoping we might do this a little bit more frequently, and it may not be... It may not always be about sales and selling goods and things like that, but we thought maybe we'd do some product highlights and things like that, you know, and being independent, you know, if we don't like it, we'll certainly tell you. But I think we'll start off this morning by, first of all, Barry. Barry's been stuck in the shop this morning. He's currently in the middle of a tank sale, so he's going to join us in a little while. So you won't have to listen to Barry's bullshit this morning. And there you go. Hiya, Harry. Nice to see you. What a superb film Harry's done about coral freaks. In actual fact, that's probably going to be a little thing we're going to discuss in a second. But first of all, I would like to say thank you to all of those that came to last week's birthday. It was unreal, especially Saturday. I think we were overwhelmed. A little apology as well. Some of you were stuck in a queue, I think, for about 30-40 minutes. But you know, it's one of those things, you know, do we bring in more tills? And then, of course, you know, to give you an idea, a new till's about $4,000 for us. So, you know, we have to be mindful of costs and things like that on the day. But maybe we'll address that next time. But it was a superb event. If a little bit too busy for some, I think that would be a fair criticism, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so apologies to anyone that didn't like crowds.
Yeah. However, there will be some something that we'll give back as well over this weekend, if you've not already seen on the Facebook page regarding fish. So first of all, as I say, thank you very much for that. The other thing as well I'd like to say is, I don't know how many of you noticed, but finally we've got the Coral Freaks money. It's been the bank for them. I actually visited the other day, the Mind, which I didn't realise is actually on my doorstep. It's only at Bush Fair, just down the road from us, and it was really actually. So I walk into the charity area, and there is a group of people there just doing some painting and things like that in there. But the money, I believe, is going to be sort of distributed across the West Essex area, some of which I believe will end up on the army barracks that's in Saffron Walden, where we've got young soldiers and military personnel coming back from, war-torn countries, often with limbs missing and all sorts, and the way that changes the family unit. You'd never believe how many mental health issues. Well, I dare say you can believe, you know, but war is a terrible thing. And Mind in West Essex is really concentrating on that. So, yeah, thank you again, everyone. £3,150 is a tall order, really, when you think that on the day we only had, what was it, about an hour, maybe 2 hours to buy a raffle ticket. So I really thank you all for supporting that. I've also recently received some messages regarding Coral Freaks from people saying, it can't be the last one, Paul, it can't be the last one. But I'm pleased to say that I think that Stefan, the Yorkshire Reefer, and Connor are contemplating taking some of that responsibility. And, you know, I'll be there to give them the guidance and get these shows going. Anyway, we'll go back to where we were. What was that from Ron? There's Barry. Yeah, he probably has. I've been told how big they are. What we got else? We got there. John. John, I hope you're all right. Thank you very much again for coming to Coral Freaks that day. It did make a huge difference on there. I do love this name. Chuckle to Rarely Fishing 127. I wish I knew who you were, because I'm sure we know you. Yeah, I'm sure we know you. Barry will be with us shortly. There we got there. That's just a bit saying a good morning to everyone. We got Lorraine. Hello, Lorraine. Thanks for joining this morning. Right, so I think what we'll do is we'll start to talk about. I think we'll move on to livestock. Actually, we'll start with livestock, son, and then hopefully Barry would join in with that. So one of the things that we're going to do, because the birthday was so busy, and I think I would have done this irrespective of a Black Friday weekend sale scenario, but I think what we've decided is we're going to offer the same discount to those club card holders. So any of you that got a club card last weekend, but you was a bit disappointed because you couldn't really see the fish for the crowds, I doubt that Black Friday Saturday is going to be anything like the birthday event in terms of volume of people.
I'd be very surprised.
But I hope not, because he's going away, right? So, but I dare say that it's not going to be quite so busy. So what we've done is we reflected the 15% that you would have got off of your marine fish if you didn't get a chance because of how busy it was to choose what you wanted. We're going to reflect that in this week's offer. So anyone who's got a club card, and of course you can buy a club card now if you do want one, if you're spending a few
it's applicable
quid.
I believe over the weekend. So if you buy one on the day, Saturday, Sunday, you're then entitled, I think, to the discount. Is that right?
Absolutely,
on the day?
yes. So for example, there was 15%, and to give you an idea, we've had I had a lot of fish behind the scenes that were in there. That a lot of those have now been put out, and the system's very well stocked. And I was just going to go through actually on the fish species that we've currently got available. Certainly some of them, I can't read them all out because we've literally got hundreds and hundreds of fish, haven't we?
The list and all.
But, apart from the obvious super flashy species that we carry, like your Yerpul and your Skirpul and things like that, we've got a great range of basic species as well that certainly fit the pocket. But we've also got this week a Meridifia personifer angel, a juvenile in. We got an Interruptus, all right, that is a flashy species. We got a multicolour angel. We haven't had one of those in for a while. Some female Bellis, some female Watanabe, and a male Watanabe. So there's a nice pair there if you're looking for a reef-safe angelfish pair. If you've ever considered putting an angelfish in a reef tank, it's always with an element of risk, as many of you will know out there. But the Geniacanthus, the swallowtail angelfish group, I've never had a problem with those, particularly with SPS corals. I've currently got one in the main display tank, a Red Sea swallowtail, which was the first angel I ever introduced to a reef tank. So in terms of fish, we've done, as I said, incredibly well this week to restock. We've had some beautiful little Bulbonis amphias in today, which are the cheapest we've ever had Bulbonis in. And with the Black Friday sale, some of you will be paying, I think, around about $270 or something like that for a Bulbonis, and they've been as high as £450 in the last years. So we've got those. We've got masked swallowtail angels as well. Another flashy species. I just keep mentioning all the flashy ones. But we've got your classics, coral beauties, flame angels, emperor angels, blueface angels, cream angels, lemon pill angels. We've got a gorgeous Red Sea regal angel as well out the back at the moment. It's resting. We've got some nice unusual butterflies, some of which could be coral safe. There's a Marseillais and a yellow long nose, and of course you've got your copper band. Someone's put, I noticed in my fish, the Moorish idol into that fish list as well. When the butterfly, of course, it's not a butterfly. However, yes, just so you know, Alan, I have two Moorish idols currently out the back. There is a small juvenile in the shop as we speak. I've been working on two for you, so don't think I forgot. It's just that I'm not quite just yet. Here we go.
Oh, Peter Schultz.
Oh, hello, pal.
Good
I haven't seen you for years, mate. I hope you're all right. I've no idea how your health is these days. It'd be lovely to see you sometime. Now I know.
Definitely.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah, now it makes sense. What was that there we've got there? to recover. Yeah, we do, Lorraine. Last weekend, it was honestly, me and Connor is quite genuinely, we're exhausted, aren't we?
Yeah, I am.
Mentally.
I'm not usually.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said we're physically exhausted, especially not me, but Connor might be because he unpacks all the pallets. But we are absolutely worn out, is the truth, because obviously we fell from Coral Freaks straight to our birthday. Coral Freaks, I went straight into Europe with the guests that were here, and then we had the show over there to deal with and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, and a lot of beer drinking. But you know, it's still tiring even when you're entertaining people for 2 weeks. And then of course we went straight into our birthday, which and of course and what probably some of you don't probably see is how much preparation goes into these things, because you turn up on the day, but I can get, it's like Coral Freaks. Coral Freaks is a 3-month solid thing just for 6 hours, and there's an awful lot that goes on during that time. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Lorraine. We really do need to recover, but we've got no choice, because it's one of those things that Black Friday fell into it afterwards. But I've noticed actually over the years that Black Friday's definitely grown. It was very well resisted when me and I think it was a couple of other shops at the time started doing this Black Friday thing. Just not interested in it. But I think Black Friday often means for retailers, this is your opportunity to buy your Christmas shopping on the cheap, is the truth of it.
At a time
and also due to financial reasons, a lot of businesses, they want to see as much of what's left on the shelves turn back into money as we come to the end of year. So that's why Black Friday sort of exists. So it's hold on. Well, we got a little funny comment here from my business mentor. I'll get my little violin out for you. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks for the moral support there.
Love you.
So anyway, moving on. Fish wise, we've sort of diversed a bit off there. So you're going to get your fish. Term things like, well, read out some tangs. We've got a white tail coley, a yellow scopaz, a yertle skirple, yellow tang wild. I don't think we have got yellow. At least we have got a yellow tang wild. That's out the back.
Yes.
If someone wants that, they'd have to order that one, really. Yellow eye silver spot, blonde Nassau, striatus, blue eye tang, zebra tangs coming out the ear roll still because of our year's supply arrived in one hit. Blue face koi tangs. There's some gorgeous ones of those, are not too expensive. Magnificent fox faces, one spot fox faces, orange spot rabbits, regal tangs, mustard tang, Achilles tangs, powder blue tangs, freckle face tangs, lavender tangs, dulcimeres, usual stuff you'd expect from the damsels, clownfish and cardinals list. We've got all the usual common stuff like your wild common clowns, as well as tank bred common, skunk clowns, clarky clowns. We've also got a blue striped clownfish pair as well, which we haven't had for a while. We've also got some unusual chromis in this week. We've got the titanium chromis, which is a gorgeous fish. If you like your sort of deep water looking species, starky damsels, you're never ever going to see a fish that's so well behaved. Damsels get such a bad reputation, but that's often because people do not keep damsels properly. And what I mean by that is you don't add your damsels on day one. They're often like angelfish, should be added towards the end. But if you stick to the Chrysoptera species like the yellow bellies and the royals and the yellow tails and the scribbles, and they're very peaceful actually. And as long as you put them in a group, they're very much like African cichlids in the freshwater world. They'll argue amongst themselves. If you put one in a tank in a nano and then buy a firefish, it'll have its tail ripped off in a week. So, I would urge you to always consider damsels, because they're not only cost effective for many of you, but they're really hardy. They're really bright. And this week, I think actually we've got a really rare variant of the Rolandi damsel from Tonga, which is really nice. We've also got some ranch damsels. If you don't know what ranch fish means, that means that's where they collect the plankton and then they rear it in captivity, and you might get some chromies pop out, you might get a cleaner shrimp pop out, you might get this.
I think TMC did a talk about it a few years ago. One of their Love to Reef events.
Yeah, TMC did do a talk at Love to Reef, I believe. Amphias, we're packed to the rims. We've got pink longfin scribbles. So we've got a few wreck fish. There are wreck fish that are resting at the moment out in isolation. We've got a wild orchid dotty back, superb colour compared to the tank bred ones. Chalk bass, I think we've got one or two of those. Two Caramphias. We've got also, in terms of wrasse, you may have seen this week, we've got the Holy Grail fish, which is the feminist wrasse. We've got mystery wrasse, yellowtail tamarins. I know many of you have been waiting for those. They're out of season at the moment. I think a lot of people, when they're looking for fish, don't realise there's a seasonality to what we can get and when we can get it. It's not a question of us not ordering it. So at the moment, yellowtail tamarins are few and far between, but we've managed to secure about 3 or 4 for this weekend. There's blacktail tamarins, silver belly wrasse. There's the Madagascar Holy Grail flashers, wet morellas. There's McCoskerai. There's filament fin flashers as well. All rested, all doing well. And don't forget, whenever you're buying fish, no one's going to thumb screw you at your IAC into buying fish. We're always going to put you off more likely. So always think about your compatibility and ask questions. And, you know, the team where I run this very much how I used to want to be served when I was a customer of shops. And that is within your rights to ask for that species, to see it feeding, stand there for 30 minutes, observe it, and put it on a temporary hold while you look over it and you're sure, and do try and take the advice of the team. Every time we see a customer ignore what we say, they end up with a problem. So, you know, and likewise, even when we do give the best advice, there is always an inherent risk adding something new to your system. So as much as they're on sale this weekend, fish, which is not something we normally do, which I'll come on to in a second, remember, you know, don't just buy it because it's cheap. Make sure that you can suitably house that animal and give it the best chance of life. In terms of fish sales, just so you know, there's a reason why AAC doesn't often have a sale on fish, and that is try and keep our prices as competitive as we can, bearing in mind that I'm employing 3 staff to try and make sure that those fish and corals are absolutely mint for you, yeah, and that costs money. So we invariably, we've got an option. We can either increase our prices and give you more sales, or we can do an occasional sale at the right price to show that we really want to look after our customer base. So, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into fish. Any dealer will tell, if they're serious about their marine fish, any shop will tell you how much work and how fraught with peril it is selling marine fish. It's not an easy subject, not for anyone, particularly if they're trying to offer quality. Although we just had David Sales join us. Hi, David. How are you? Thank you very much. Yeah, it does. Thank you very much, Lorraine, for agreeing with us on that. So yeah, in terms of fish, we're packed. There's gobies, millions of them. I mean, if I was to read out the list, we'd be here an hour. But you know, I don't think it's unusual for us to carry anywhere between 500 and 1,000 fish. So you've always got lots of choice. We've currently got a shipment in from the Maldives, which is out the back at the moment, resting, making sure that's right for you. And there'll be a number of species at the start of next week that get released too. But obviously at this time of year, I'm concentrating on a lot of those small classic favourites, like, you know, your wrasse and your worker fish and that sort of thing. But if there's anything you're actually looking for, please let us know and we'll look into it. But always bear in mind that, you know, I can't just get these fish next week. You know, it may be sometimes, I know, like, for example, we just spoke to Alan there. Alan mentioned to me about a Moorish idol. A good Moorish idol takes weeks really to get right. You know, I want to make sure that that fish is feeding on dry food for Alan. So sometimes we know we have to be patient and wait for the right fish, and sometimes it doesn't work out for me, and that means waiting even longer. So you know, if it's a special order, please get in touch and we'll work on it for you. We never forget. People think we do, but as who was it? Was it Liam We're waiting for his tang, foul or wide tang.
Yes.
Liam, who's often on the streams, he wanted a foul or wide tang. That took me nearly 3 to 6 months to get. No one else got one in the UK, but that's how hard it is sometimes. So if you're thinking about a fish or a special fish that you're looking for, get in touch and we'll look into that for you.
It's probably worth mentioning as well, if you haven't seen it already, obviously the list is on Facebook. It went up yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, yesterday.
So you can, we're not just reading off of something that no one can see.
Yeah.
So do have a look on there. There's, it's a big old list.
Another thing that we'll probably bring up now as well is corals. So last weekend, I think we sold, including frags, as well. I think we sold in the region of about 300 pieces, wasn't it, or something like that.
Yeah.
So there was 300 corals went out, and of course you can imagine. Even though that we sold 300 corals, there was still plenty of corals for sale. But this week, much to my wife's, bear in mind that Angela does all the accounts, I've got up and pretty much spent exactly what you spent last weekend on corals again. So it's absolutely packed out there. And in fact, we've just had we've had 2 deliveries this morning, one from TMC and one from a smaller wholesaler as well, with more corals I had my eye on in the week. And we had corals in on, when did I go TMC? Was that Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
So we had more corals on Tuesday. So we've had 3 coral deliveries this week already. The shop's completely restocked. Dan's restocked the frag table as well. And of course, you've got a fantastic offer that's open to all, which is, I don't want to get this wrong, I think it's 25% off. I'm just going to try and find the actual flyer for that. That's it there. Right, so let's have a little look at this. Right, I'm just making sure I don't get this wrong. Yeah, you got 25% off, irrespective of whether you're a club card member or not. So you club card holders, you've got an exclusive 15% this weekend on fish, particularly because I felt that you didn't get a fair look at the fish. It was a bit
mental around the fish.
It just last week. It was really, really, how can I put it, flattering. That I think you did 150 card sign-ups, didn't you?
Yeah. For context, this is the most sign-ups we've ever had. So I order in 250 discount cards at a time per year. And this is the first year we did 150 over the weekend, which is a record for us. So yeah, thank you very much.
It was very flattering. I hope you as well. We were lucky because we had those 60 of those goodie bags. Yeah. And I think which was very kindly, all of that, what you've got in your bag was donated between companies Exodus and TMC. Who else donated?
Aquatic Now.
Reef Nutrition. Yeah. There was quite a few in there. So you had your mastic and stuff like that. So, Vitalis. Yes. Vitalis, they heavily supported Coral Freaks as well. We must give Vitalis a shout out. Vitalis, I don't know how many of you realise, is really, you're so lucky in the UK. That food is rated around the world as the best marine fish. Yeah. I think a lot of it is because a lot of the manufacturing is based around shrimp. And of course, in a lot of cheaper fish foods, they use a lot of fish meal, probably coming out of the pet food industry, like your cat food, all the bones and all the whatever gets ground to a pulp. And they'll use a lot of cheaper fillers in cheaper fish food. But Vitalis fish food is a fantastic product.
Am I right in thinking it's still a UK-based company?
It's a UK-based, it's based up in Yorkshire. And originally the owners of Vitalis used to work for TMC. And they were the first people in the UK, remember, to breed clownfish. In fact, most of the world, they were leaders in breeding TMC. We don't see this from TMC anymore, although they're supporting projects overseas. They're not running a hatchery like they used to, but they were the first people to formulate a food based for clownfish, and that's what your Vitalis marine flakes are. So it's they were just giving them a shout out really, because I didn't give them enough of a shout out for Coral Freaks as well. And
it didn't take a lot, did it? We sort of mentioned it, and straight away, was it Tom you spoke to or someone similar? Yeah. Straight on the
actually, it was March at Fragbox that mentioned to Vitalis
about
coral freaks,
Yeah.
and then they gave us, I think they put in about 1,000 quid's worth of fish food
Which is
into
a lot
the
of fish
event.
food.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, a retail certainly.
Yeah.
So 25% of corals. To give you an idea, some of those species, we had a lot of cataphilia this week, loads of torches for your torch fans out there as well. And remember, we don't go too heavy on names here. We're just like, you know, if it's got a name, we'll put it on it if it comes with a name. But you know, you never know what you spot in the torch coral area. I think out there at the moment, we've even got one of the rarest torch corals ever, which is like a glitter torch. You know, for those of you that are really into that. Goniopora, you know, I'm a huge fan of gonies, many of you know. Goniopora, we've had some beautiful little gardens in this morning, but there's packed out there with gonies. What else did we get this week? We've had some nice Paracamphastria, which used to be called Lobos, that are not now. They're quite nice.
Soft corals? Have you had soft coral
Yes,
delivery?
we've had quite a good soft coral. You know, I'm really a big fan of soft corals and always have been. You know, I've never been snobby about corals, and we're starting to see some really good soft corals. Yeah. So I think there's some Fiji yellow toadstools out there, isn't there? There's some light-loving gorgonians and that sort of thing, and mushroom anemones.
Obviously, the bits you had come through last week as well.
Yeah,
We've still got stock of that.
Yeah, it's quite hard to actually remember how many corals. All I can tell you is I've spent the best part of about £7,000 this week at trade, yeah, to restock the tables with corals. So you're going to be sport for choice in there. And Dan has absolutely packed out the frag tables as well from the farm as well. So, you know, thank you very much as well as I say with last week's coral sales. Right, moving on. I thought we'd start talking about a little bit about the dry goods offers, and I think the first one that I really want to highlight, which I think is probably so. There are folks sometimes sales, as I'm sure you're aware, especially when you see that DFS sofa advert on your TV, are mostly bullshit. Excuse the phrase. Hopefully YouTube won't give me a strike for that. But we all know what sales are like, don't we? Normally, a lot of I've seen it on Amazon, particularly, folks, where they raise their retail prices just before they do these big 25% off sales or 50% off. That's something we don't do here. You know, what it is what it is. And if there's a sale, there's a discount. So there's no inflated prices pre-Black Friday. But so we'll start with what I believe are some of the best offers that you're going to get, rather than what I call you know, they're all right offers, you know, depending on whether you need it or not. But if you've ever been considered, Connor, if you want to pass this set over, I just want to ask you, you're going to have to be clever with your pricing here. I don't know if any of you have been reading about it. NIOS Iron B. Now, Exodus and NIOS, I think, have worked together. You can hold them up. Now, normally you buy these separately, right? And they're already cheap. These are not expensive for the range. This is like your A and your B, and then you've got your elements, which Connor was just holding up there, which I believe are all. But you can't put all the elements in one bottle.
No, I think two go into your calcium mag, one goes into your alkalinity.
Yeah. So that's why you've got these three bottles. But basically, the offer is this week that you get, if you buy those Ion B elements, so if you're about to run out of your dosing solutions and you want to give NIOS a try, you know, then these, this little set, how much is this little set?
So from memory, as just a rough price, I think that to buy each of the bottles individually would work out, I think, just a shy of 90 quid.
Yeah.
But you can... Actually, no, sorry, it's just shy of 60 quid. But for all of it, it's $39.99 this Black Friday.
So that's
you're just paying for these two.
Yeah, you're paying for them too, but you're getting the actual elements all free with it. And there's a really good instructional video that's out this week. I think either it's on the NIOS channel, or NIOS Facebook page, or on the Exodus page, about how to use them. It's very, very simple. It's a bit like the old fauna marin stuff, whereby that you used to have your dosing liquids, and then you just add the elements to them. And the idea being, which if you think about it, so there's a lot of products out there now where the elements are included in it. I'm not going to name any names, but you know the ones I mean. Right now, of course, there is a situation where sometimes, you know, there's not enough elements within those bottles. So then you go out and buy an extra bottle to up, say, your manganese, say, if you're into Goniopora. Well, the difference is with these is you start at a low dose and then you just add extra elements if you need it to those dosing solutions. Can you explain a bit, Connor, to those that are watching?
I think I just want to get my facts right quickly so I don't lead anyone up the garden path. But so the bottles, these ones, some trace elements anyway.
Yeah.
And then essentially
they're like extra.
That one goes in there and that tops up the ones that are missing. And very similar to a lot of two-part dosing, obviously you'll find that half of your trace elements will be split into the alkalinity and half will be split into the calcium and mag. And the reason why they do that, if anyone doesn't know, is just to balance it out, just so it stays in solution, really is the simple way of putting it.
Yeah.
But it's designed so that I think NIOS actually recommend that these are dosed to the actual bottles themselves.
Yeah.
So you don't dose this separately. So it's a great thing as well that if you guys are limited on space and you don't want 6 different bottles connected to 2 different dosing pumps and you don't want to, have different dosing pumps doing different things, it's great in terms of convenience. So for those people that have got 3-foot system, 2-foot system, you're limited on cabinet space, you only want 2 bottles or 2 containers. This one is a great one for not only saving yourself a bit of money, but also getting good quality product, but also not having to worry about having loads of dosing channels.
Because I think the thing to note with this NIOS gear that, as I said, feedback-wise, just saying, it's really good feedback. We're not just saying that. I mean, I'm not you. I'll be honest with you. I'm still yet to use it. I'm still on another product range at the moment, majority around the store. But I'm about to start testing it out myself personally. But those people that are out there already using it have found it not only economic, it's extremely economic, right? But very, very good results.
I know that Joe, who does a lot of our installs and maintenance, who may be watching, he's used this in quite a few systems that he's been maintaining, and he said he's seen very, very good results.
Generally, in the most part, being absolutely straight up with people out there watching, like any 2-part, all of the products on the shelf these days, no matter what brand you're into, is pretty damn good. They're all good. It doesn't matter what one you're using, they're all good.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is concentration. For those of you that are, finding it a little bit tight and what have you, this might be an alternative to some of those other key brands that are out there. I just like the fact it's very small, it's compact, simple to use, and I do believe that Unit 7 tables, as of next week, we're changing over to. We're going to try it ourselves.
Let's give you an idea on the alkalinity. They reckon 1 mil per 100 litres of alkalinity buffer. So this one in front of me will raise your DKH by 0.1. So it's fairly concentrated. It's pretty similar to most of them.
Is that similar to Red Sea?
Yeah, Red Sea.
But I don't think it's similar to some of those other key 2-part.
The 2-parts may be either a little less concentrated or a little more concentrated.
Yeah.
But my great the thing I like about that is that it's just very simple maths.
Yeah.
It's not too complicated. I know some things like fauna marin sometimes can get a bit too techy with the measurements.
Yeah.
So.
The other, so that's a significant offer.
Yes.
That's why we've, so first of all, so basically this morning I pulled a few products out that I think are a really good buy. That are, you're never going to buy that product again cheaper.
No.
So if you're already using it, this is a good time to save a lot of money. So really, what are they saving roughly? About 20,
saving about,
how much are these bottles each?
So these are about, off the top of my head, don't quote me guys,
12 quid.
I think they're about between 12 and 15 pound a bottle.
So they're already reasonable price, because a lot of bottles like that are like 15.
The one that is the saver though, which I know that a couple of our customers are already using. I know Dave from the Reefers Network, Baby Dave, he's using it and he loves it. The 5-litre version of this is where you really save the money.
Yeah. So
that you pay, I think it works out because you're paying for the 500ml. You're getting the 500ml traces free, which I think are about 20 odd quid a bottle.
Yeah.
So that works out. You go down from just over £100 to pay for all of it individually.
So 69.
So only paying £69.
Yeah. So like the 5-litre set, I think is 69, and the 2-litre set, I believe, is 39.
Yeah.
So it's a really, so that's a significant offer, and one that we feel that that is where you're going to really genuinely save money with something that's top quality. So that's why we pulled that off. And leading on to top quality, I'm going to talk to you about, which you may have seen, the Avid Aqua range. I don't know if many of you, I'll see if I can hold that up closer. That's the Avid Aqua Stingray frag rack. Now, why am I showing you frag racks? You know, and also not just frag racks, but also probe holders. One of the things I'll hold this here for a second. One of the things that you can, one of the reasons why I believe that this range is really important to reef keepers, and we'll get onto the pricing in a minute and all this of it, is because we've all had magnets split, haven't we? You know, now you can only imagine how, you know, I care about every sale that we make, but ultimately we're never going to know that that magnet is going to split on that product when we sell it. If we did, we would pull it from our store and not sell it anymore. You know, so I'll give you an understanding about Neptune, for example, MPRs, right? That's the magnetic rack with your probes on your Neptune. Now, there's been some reports of those splitting over time, but they're very easy to split just by moving the magazine, clapping them together like that. Yeah, so that's how you can cause damage to an algae magnet, particularly, or anything like that. But there are times when we've sold frag racks only to find out later down the road, especially on some of the cheaper made and produced frag racks, they've caused inherent problems, haven't they? Yeah. And it's
heavy metals
and things like that. Now, you know, what I would say to you all out there, often we've come across reef keepers that want to blame everything on a magnet, you know, or everything on corrosion. And I'll be honest with you, years ago, I used to have tons, pumps, even magnets failing on me years ago. And I never used to worry about it because we never used to have ICPs. Yeah. And I can't say to you that significant losses caused from rust. I've even had sun corals arrive where they scrape them off of shipwrecks with lumps of metal attached to them. And I've used them before. I don't believe that iron oxide really is a real serious problem. Some of the alloys probably are, but nevertheless, we don't want splitting magnets. And Avid Aqua is owned by Terence Fugazi, who used to be ex-Neptune, and a guy called Ryan. And these two guys have spent an awful lot of money investing into something called ultrasonic welding, which means that no glue is used within the construction of making a magnet watertight. See, it's the glue that's the issue, folks. When we put a magnet inside something plastic and then we seal it with, what happens is over time the glue will go hard. You know what super glue's like? If you ever used it in a reef tank, that goes crispy and all of that. Well, you can imagine over time that glue breaks down, water gets into that magnet. Yeah, and that's what causes the issue. Now, the nice thing with these frag racks and these sort of probe holders and accessories is that if they're shook, you can actually hear the magnet inside the feature, inside the product, rattling. And the reason why that it was left like that is so that you know that that magnet's not compromised. Now, when you put a casing very tight around a magnet, as it leaks or as there's water ingresses on it, it causes a problem with it expanding, as you would have seen if you've ever had a towel. So this particular product range, as I said, it's got a lifetime warranty on it. It's got a lifetime warranty, right? I also believe that any of you out there that are reef keepers, you know, when your family says to you, "What do you want for Christmas?" Yeah, and you go, "Oh, I don't know, you know, and you socks or something." You know, this product particularly, I'll give you an idea. It's not only a lifetime warranty, but there's, I think there's $17.99 or something like that.
So yeah, so the actual, so the rack itself. So this product here is, this one is like 40 something quid, I think it is, or just under 40 quid, for the full kit. If you've got a larger system, so the magnets as standard do up to 13 mil glass, I think it is.
Yeah, the standard magnets are 13. We've actually got the bigger magnets on their way, air freight. They'll become arriving to us next week. So if you've got thicker glass, yeah, then you need the stronger magnet.
But that's where the cheaper price point comes in, is because they're modular. You can just buy the rack on its own. And then if you've got a larger tank, you can buy the bigger magnet without having to buy a whole kit and then buy another magnet on top.
It's been really well thought out. But in terms of products for Christmas, can we show that one as well again? So this is the probe. I don't know if you can see that, folks. This is the probe rack. Now, the good thing about this is currently I'm at the moment, I don't have exclusive distribution on them, but Terence, he just wants to work with me over here in the UK because we've got a history of working together on Neptune. And we were able to give you 20% off. So again, another significant offer, not just like a little token gesture. You know, so the Avid Aqua range, great Christmas presents if people are asking you, are really something you're going to buy for life. There's a lifetime warranty on it. That's how confident. You know, when a manufacturer offers lifetime warranty, you know, you've got to stand up and listen, because that means that's a massive
thing to throw around.
I would really like to see this more across certain product ranges that are involved in aquatics, because of course where we're dealing with animals, you know, we don't want really any distress or problems happening with our animals. So significant offer wise, Avid Aqua, check it out on the Facebook page. There's a link there to the page on the website as well, where it's really worth you having a look at that if you're into your reef keeping toys. I think you made a good point, actually. Yeah. It's a great stocking filler that ain't going to cost a lot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If someone's asking you what you want for Christmas, but you don't want to sort of say, you know,
take the piss,
something like a Radian, right, which we'll move on in a minute, you know, it's a little bit pricey.
Yeah.
So you know, certainly a significant offer. And say the Stingray holds up to 12 frags as well.
They do a larger one called the Manta Ray, which I think does 26 frags, but square.
So a really, really good buy and a significant offer. Right, moving on. We mentioned Radians. Now, this is another amazing, significant offer.
This one's nuts.
Actually. This one's nuts. So, obviously, Ecotech are very aware of what's happening out there in the lighting world. And many of you probably are looking at alternatives as well, like Strattons at the moment, which we'll come to in a little while, and other products that are out there. But let's be sure. The Radian, look, I can't get it in there. You hold the gear, I can't hold the gear. Right, the Radian is without a doubt the industry standard light, and the reason why it's always been the industry standard light is because it offers the most colour, the most flexibility. Yeah, and it's a stalwart. It's been around forever, really, the Radian. I mean, some of you that might be watching might have been there on the first generation, but it's without a doubt, certainly for coral farms and everywhere, it is the LED that really changed the way that we look at LEDs. You know, before that, you know, we had the Sol, which was good, but it was a bit pointy and a bit burny, you know, on corals. We eventually end up with, you know, the Radian, which is a diffused, certainly a diffused sort of light spectrum, if you like. So we're not hot spotting our corals. So very much more like those T5s as such. But it's got a very rich colour, and it can't be underestimated, the colour that a Radian produces. So although we're seeing some amazing lights at the minute, and we'll come on to them in a minute, coming out at the moment. I mean, they really are. You know, let's not forget the Radian. And this Black Friday, you ain't ever going to buy one as cheap as this again. No. I guarantee, and there's a very good reason why you're not going to. And that is that we all see what's going on in the US with regards to tariffs. And although I've witnessed it myself, these are made in America. You can imagine that a lot of the components are obviously coming in from the Far East before they're assembled. And of course, what were the tariffs that Mr. Trump loves to pile on America and ruin its economy at the moment, and many micro businesses as well that are over there, like Ecotech. You know, you've got to remember, although Ecotech has 10 million quid's worth of a production line, you know, it's still really a relatively small business when we compare it to Hoovers and washing machines, you know. So this is a significant offer, and the offer is kind of, is it
£150 off of an XR30? And if you want to pass it through, £100 off of an XR15.
XR15,
so that's both Pro and Blue.
Yeah,
I can balance that.
There we are.
Yeah, Pros and Blues across both models. I think I saw on Steve and Jez's little video, they said they've never had an Ecotech offer like it.
We've never had it.
No, it's before. Unheard of.
Yeah, so this is unheard of. So this really is, if you were thinking about upgrading lighting soon, and you're looking at the idea of Radians, now genuinely, this is a significant offer. You're never going to get it again. What I will say to you is, not only is it a significant offer and you're never going to get it again, you're also going to be looking at potential price rises across the Ecotech range because of this problem with tariffs. Obviously I'm very concerned about pricing, keeping products where they should be, and I already feel that the Radian is slightly more expensive than I'd like to see it at. But I would say there's no news at the moment about a G7 on its way, not just yet. I've not heard any news at all, and I was there but this year, at the factory, and I didn't really see anything that would be anywhere close to production. So if you're gonna upgrade your tank, your lighting on your tank, this could be a significant offer worth looking at. Yeah. And of course now we have a limited amount of stock. I think we've got around about 8 or 9 of the. I think we've got about 10 probably of the XR15s, and about 8 of the XR30s. Yeah. So when they're gone, they're gone. However, if we do run out and you want them, we've got a window of opportunity. So if they all sell out tomorrow and Sunday, but on Sunday night you wish that you could have bought it, message, I'll try for you on the Monday. Hopefully we'll still be able to get stock. I don't know what the situation is at Exodus who distribute them.
I'm not sure either.
But so I can't promise, but to say don't overthink it. If you think he was going to do it, whack the credit card out. Now's the time to do it. Yeah. Definitely. Anyway, so moving on to we'll talk a little bit more about lighting. So I mentioned that there was some amazing lights on the marketplace and amazing lights that are due soon. So first of all, I'm going to thank you. There's a good few of you that have already, despite not even having a date of arrival, that have pre-ordered the Stratton X.
Yes, I've add 2 to our list as well from yesterday.
Have another 2. Yeah. Right. So basically, the Stratton X. Now we had an allocation of 12 units, and I think we've already superseded it.
More or less. So we had originally had 12 units ordered and 12 brackets.
We didn't know how it was going to go.
We then done in the space of
a week.
I think it was a week, maybe 10 days max. We've done 6 units. Yeah. And then we upped the order to 14 of each bracket and light. Yeah. And now we've just
the long and short of it is, folks, the Stratton X, like none of you've even seen it, felt it, whatever. I did when I was in America, and I can assure you that the light.
I think some people might have caught it because I think they did have one on demo at Coral Freaks.
No, at Aqua H, was it?
No, because above the tide.
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look. Even though I was running Coral Freaks, I didn't even get a chance.
But some of you guys might have seen it on the Tide tank that Steve and Stefan and that had set up.
Yeah. Anyway, what a build quality. Yeah. I mean, we've got to give a shout out to ATI. ATI has been a company around forever. Any of you that use T5s, will know how amazing that they are. Like ATI as a company and the quality that you get. But the Stratton X, I believe, is going to change the landscape for lighting. It is a really impressive product. The only thing I would say is that don't expect it to be Mobius. In terms of software. So the software on a Stratton's not bad. It's okay. And if you are Stratton users out there, feel free to comment. It's not bad. Yeah. They get, but when it comes to German engineering, this is what you're paying for. It's the thickness of your iPhone, which is amazing to think that there's an LED that's come out as thick as that.
No fans.
So when it's hanging in the air, you don't really notice it. No fans, so it's whisper quiet.
Isn't it countersunk LED, so you get no glare?
No glare, but no lenses on the Strattons. It's a reflector. It is a work
of art.
Yeah. In terms of it, but in terms of like if you like taking a lot of photos like we do in store, like for example, like the Radian suits us as a dealer because I said about the great colour and everything else, but also the fact that you can obviously take pictures as and when you want to take pictures. And I'm sure that once you find your way around the Stratton software, it's not an impossibility to do that. But I think that if we're comparing the 2 products, because I've had a lot of people ask me, shall I go Stratton? Shall I go Radian?
Yeah, it's a common comparison.
It's a common thing. I think, first of all, obviously, there's a massive difference in budget in terms of money to consider. But also, there is this idea that, basically both lights are bloody good. right? But the Stratton, of course, is a significant improvement in design in terms of a large heat sink, meaning no fans. And some of you will be concerned about that, some of you won't be. But the Stratton, there is a Black Friday offer, not on the X. I mean, the X is
no,
you know,
we've already been asked.
And if you're thinking about Stratton X's, by the way, you best talk to us now, because, like I said, most of our allocated stock is already gone, and I keep pressuring Exodus to give me more. So ultimately, if you're thinking about Stratton X's, have a word. But we have got an offer on the Stratton. What one is it?
On the Stratton Pro 102. So for those that are unfamiliar, there are 3 models. The 102 is the smallest of the 3. And again, which I'm dumbfounded by, they are offering £100 off of the price. So it's, again, I mean,
what's the whole price?
I think the retail on the 102 is about 8.
And what sort of coverage?
I mean, we've got a 102 in the store above the NIOS Opus 200, the dry cube as you walk in. And that 102 covers the whole tank, so a 2-foot square radius.
But it probably would do a 3-foot square.
There's overspill. Yeah.
So I think that to give you an idea, that one particular light,
LPS and soft is absolutely.
So if you had, for argument's sake, probably a 5-foot by, say, 2.5 foot by 2 foot deep. 2 of them.
It's funny you say that, because actually a customer of ours, Nick Long, has got over his 5-foot Reef Pro 2 102s.
Yeah, so 2 102s fit a 5-foot Reef Pro, or would do a nice 3-foot by 2 foot by 2 foot one. So that gives you an idea of the scale of the light. There's £100 off. That's a significant offer. I mean, you know, £100 off of a light, which I can honestly tell you as a retailer doesn't have a margin worth talking about. That's the problem for us, is that some of these products that come out, you know, where they're trying to keep prices low for the consumer, ultimately that means that we take a hit on margin on those. And anything German, BMW, Mercedes, they're not going to have great margins on them versus the Ford car salesman. So anyway, in terms of a great offer, significant
lighting is the way to go.
Lighting,
definitely.
If you're thinking about upgrading lighting, this is a really good weekend to talk about it. Also, if you're in store and there's another light you're really interested in, but it didn't appear in the Black Friday sale, then by all means, have a word with one of the team.
With the lads.
Yeah, we can get many lights, and we might be able to offer you a discount. We don't just do Radians and Strattons, of course. We do the AI range.
Well, on that subject, quickly as well, just to interject, the AI Hydra Edge, the smallest one, the 44, is currently 12% off as well. So if you're looking for an alternative to what we were just talking about, it's also got a bit of a saving. The Hydra Edge 44 is probably, I'd say, a contender for the XR15 as an equivalent if you're looking for an alternative brand. But on the subject of kit and massive savings, probably the last thing to mention that is a real, you know, if you're looking at investing into the next step of your aquarium, Neptune. So at the minute, I know someone has already taken up on this offer. A very good customer of ours. He knows who he is. So currently, for this weekend only, up until midnight Monday. Okay, right. So there we go, folks. That's this week's superb offer. It's currently
It is currently the Trident MP.
So the Trident MP and the Apex A3 Pro. So the biggest one, the most expensive one, the best one, in my opinion, in terms of value for money, because you get everything you need with it, was £1,739.98 if you was to buy them both individually, not on offer.
Let's stand up.
This weekend only, you can buy both of them for $11.99. That's a staggering near enough £600 off.
Ridiculous.
It's practically, you're more or less getting the Trident MP for free, bar £100.
That's got to be probably the biggest giveaway ever. It's more nearly a giveaway, because ultimately the MP is, how much is the MP?
The MP is $739. But for the summer offer, as you've probably seen, everyone who's interested in this sort of shit, you'll know that it's currently been offered for $639. So you're already getting £100 off this summer. But so that taken into account, you are more or less getting an MP free of charge on this offer, which is insane.
So and of course the MP as well now as because early adopters were a little bit dubious about it. But now, of course, there's a bit of software in there as well. You can actually tune that MP to exactly what your test results are on off your hammers, so you can manually calibrate it as you can with all the others. So that again, we believe is one offer that definitely isn't a DFS sofa offer where they're pretending that they're
again. I think I saw Steve and Jez saying on their video that again, this is one that they've never heard of before. This is a one-time thing, I think.
Right, moving on. Something I want to bring up as well is Red Sea.
Yes.
Right, so Red Sea always supported Black Friday, being the international business that they are, around the world. Basically, Red Sea, not only did they help us out a lot with discounts on our birthday, they've always supported retailers very, very well. But Red Sea this weekend is, what is
12% off the whole lot. So if you want a tank, you want a bit of kit, you want some consumables, you want to maybe go down the route of dosing, you want to get a full system with the dosing pump, with the elements, with the accessories kit. The whole range is 12% off this weekend. So again, a great time to, if you're looking at upgrading your kit, looking at upgrading your tank, it's well worth it. 100%.
And of course, now we're dealing with G3 models as well. So there's some significant improvements across the G3 range, I believe.
I've seen some photos of the new G3 tanks. So I know for a fact, I think they're all going to be available from the new year, I believe. If not, there might be some models that are starting to come in now, but obviously due to the Christmas period coming up, they all start to shut down the courier companies and stuff in the next few weeks. So chances are, if you're looking at a new tank, probably likely that you'll probably get it new year, just as a heads
and
up.
That's true, actually, of, so for example, the 12% sale across Red Sea, really good. Now, of course, 12% off of a bottle of additive is something, but not a lot. So that's not really significant. But if you was, for argument's sake, you wanted to buy a dosing or does that apply to pre-orders on their new controller?
No. Well done. No, it doesn't. So you guys have probably seen on social media this week, last week, whenever it was. I can't keep up anymore. The Red Sea have now gone down the controller route. Where they are creating a new automated system that sort of links into your Red Sea Reef Beat. Feedback.
I'll get a bit of feedback.
Old people and technology.
That's it. That's mainly it. Okay.
Right. So that's not on offer. That's the point I'm trying to get at. It's not on offer because it's not even released yet. I think it's early 2026 is going to be. But when they say early, let's probably say March, April time. We'd see stock.
I think at the moment we've said that because obviously we're massive Neptune fans and. If you are thinking about aquarium controllers, I don't think you go far wrong. I'm going to be honest about this. I don't believe that the Red Sea controller will be at the minute anywhere near as powerful as Neptune in terms of what it can do. But it will appeal to those that are just after basic function,
and they want
whether
it
that's
on
controlling a fan
or of a cheaper price point.
No, it's not significantly.
No,
cheap,
it's not.
Though,
it's not, but it is still a bit of a saving. But it is worth bearing in mind. You're right. Neptune have been on the market a lot longer with this. Sort of thing
I mean, I'll say I'm cautious about it. Being honest to you, customers out there as well. But Red Sea, good support, and they get right behind. They do test their products. They test all of their additives. They test all of their salt. And I've often made the claim that if you think that I've dealt with now over 30 odd years. Blue bucket salt. I've actually sold literally tons of that salt. I mean, we've had a ton of blue alone today alone. Last weekend on Saturday alone, you customers, you actually
cleared me out.
I
had 20 buckets of salt. I had nearly a quarter of a ton in stock, which is a lot of salt.
That's only blue bucket.
Just one product line, and you lot cleared me out.
So we had to have an emergency pallet of salt sent, which has only just arrived today. So we're restocked, ready for the bank holiday, and there's 12% off a blue bucket again. So if any of you are Red Sea salt users out there,
great time to get it.
I don't know any time ever in my history where there's been such a discount on salt, because what you have to imagine, folks, is salt for an LFS or for a distributor or manufacturer is very much like milk and bread for a supermarket. They make very little money, if none, on it. And the same with compost as well from a garden centre. There's no one really making fortunes out of salt. So for them to do an offer on salt, I'm really surprised. I mean, putting free goods in, talking of which, on the NIOS salt, by the way,
Yes.
folks, you're going to get a free ICP in it.
Yeah.
The ATI ICP. So that's a £20 save. So rather than a discount, you are actually going to get.
So it's the same, I believe it's the same ICPs that if you came to Coral Freaks, I believe they gave them free of charge.
They're pretty good, actually. I see Stefan using the ATI ICP, and what I like about that is it gives you a little rating of how good your tank is. So, like Stefan's came back at 86%, so he's not that good.
See.
Yeah. So, but I don't suppose anyone ever has 100% tank that's working well elements wise. But there we go. So, Red Sea, really worth buying in.
Off the
Again,
range.
if you're buying something big from Red Sea, that's where you're going to save significant money. If something little, you're not so much so. But the things that your consumables, it would make sense if you get through a bucket of salt every couple of months or something, buying an extra bucket and keeping it in the cupboard for now. It will save you a bit of money, at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about this weekend. Okay, so other brands that AAC get heavily behind, another brand is Two Little Fishes. So
I'm ready.
Yeah, so Two Little Fishes. You might recognise one of those bottles there. You got Revive.
The cold dip. Yeah. We all know and love that one.
Yeah.
It's been around for ages.
And another one that's highly recommended is Accuracy, which you might be able to see there. Accuracy, which of course is to help you calibrate your refractometer properly. That's the only real decent product on the market.
We use this holistically in store to calibrate our own refractometer, and that's absolutely right. It's really good.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
good.
the thing is, when you think Two Little Fishes, you've got to think Julian Sprungs, because ultimately Julian still to this day is involved with, on the manufacturing side, overseeing everything. No different to me walking around the shop and overseeing my shop. Julian is there all the time, and a decade old.
One,
I'm currently using. I've gone back to trying Marine Snow along with my Reef Nutrition on my little tank at home, and it's something we really forgot about. Marine Snow is a sort of bit viscous, a bit thick. Yeah, and that's really good if you're trying to fill feeders. It's a little bit snotty, is how I describe it.
What I find interesting as well is that Julian, on his Marine Sow, whereas a lot of them I've seen have been marketed as sort of a second-hand nutrient remover, if you like. Yeah. He's marketed this specifically as a food for invertebrates and for bacteria.
It's because it describes the way that when you're on the reef and you have a plankton bloom, what with all the coral mucus and everything else in the water column, it basically creates a bit of a bond. And mixing Marine Snow actually with a bit of frozen food when you feed fish isn't a bad idea, because it makes it a bit sticky. So if you put some copepods amongst your Marine Snow, frozen for example, even, and then feed your tank, it creates like a sticky web.
Yeah.
So Marine Snow, it's a blast from the past, but I think it's a really good product. And this weekend, what's the deal on this?
15% off of the range, off of all of the Two Little Fishes range. Obviously, I'm sure most of you saw my lovely, nice new shelving that I spent ages creating for the Two Little Fishes range a couple of weeks ago. But the stuff has started to be, really steadily trickling out. I know a lot of you that have been keeping marine tanks for some time or know of the Two Little Fishes range have been jumping onto some of these products.
New product out there. There's a new product out there, folks, called Worm Bits. Worm is basically, you're going to love these, folks, is a pot of freeze-dried bristleworms. Now, you're thinking, oh, my God, why would I want bristleworms? Well, if you read up on bristleworms and how nutritionally valuable they are, I believe the Aboriginal people, for example, eat a bristleworm. So, it's a very good for weaning things like copper bands and stuff like that. It requires a long soak. What I'd suggest how you use the product is we actually add Celcon to it because it's freeze dried, these worms. They'll soak up vitamins really well. Give them a good 3 hours because they'll float a lot. They're very buoyant. But once your fish get used to these, they're
it's really weird.
Yeah. You're going to eat one. You're going to try it.
No, but this isn't I'm a Celeb, all right? Well, I'm not doing a bush tucker trial.
Yeah. Right. So, leading on to others. Right. D&D. Let's talk
very
about
quickly.
D&D.
So D&D, essentially, long short of it, is 12% off of a load of selected products. So I know for a fact straight away you got 12% off of rubber foss, 12% off of D&D function pumps. So this is the return pumps, not the new wave makers that are due to come to us in a few weeks. They are not included. I must say that, otherwise I'll get in trouble. So 12% off of Polyp Lab. So if you need some new reef primer coral dip for reacros at the weekend, worth grabbing a pot or two. If you're getting low on reefroids, you know, again, it's a great chance to get some stock up. What's the other thing? Clarity filters and replacement fleece rolls. They're 12% off. All DD aquariums, they're 12% off.
With the reason why Barry doesn't look like he's going to be able to join us because he's currently in the middle of selling a Black Friday DD.
Someone's already taken advantage.
Already. So this is again, this is what I mean by significant sales. We're not going to bother. There's hundreds and hundreds of aquatic products out there across many websites there. But we thought we would just highlight the ones that are worth it. Yeah. And we think that if you was about to buy, for example, a new aquarium and you don't fancy a Red Sea, but you'd like the idea of this is where you're going to save significant money. If you can imagine if you spend 1,000, you've got 120 quid away. You know, so you've only got. It depends on what you're buying, but you can imagine you double that every time or whatever you're spending on a tank. So if you're thinking now, bearing this in mind. Although you might not want a tank tomorrow or next week or even before Christmas, many people don't. If you put your order in this weekend, chances of you getting it are going to be around about January, the middle to the end of January, maybe even the first week of, depending on demand, maybe even into Feb. So if you was thinking about treating yourself to a tank in the new year, and what we've done is for some customers, we've actually got another order, I think, or 2 orders this week. Actually,
we have, yeah.
What we've done is we've took a deposit. So, for example, if you do, we have to say it's a non-refundable deposit because obviously if we sanction this order, they get built to order and it's a custom, it's made to order.
It's all very dependent on capping.
But if you want to put down a deposit, £100 or something like that now, and then, look at maybe having it delivered at the end of Jan and paying your balance maybe towards sort of after Christmas.
Yeah, we're flexible.
We can be flexible. You've only got to talk to us. So, new tank time, folks. If you're considering a new tank, give us a call, give us a WhatsApp, send us a Facebook message, pop in, whatever, and we'll talk tanks.
Well, we do have a 1200 Reef Pro on display as a dry display. So if you need to see something in the flesh to get an idea of scale, I know a lot of customers, both new and regular, you love the idea of being able to come in and be like, so that's the 4 foot.
The other thing, why I always recommend, if you're going to buy a tank, really, ideally get in the car and go and see it. And the reason why I say that is because swatch colours. We've got 2 swatch colour pads here, so that you can absolutely be sure that the finish that you get is the one that you want.
Websites don't do it justice.
Yeah, websites don't ever show good colours. I'm sure if you've ever tried to choose carpet or blinds or something for the house, it's never quite exactly, is it? The colour that you imagine. But I know some companies spend thousands on websites.
Even paint companies, and it's never the same. And
never the same. So, as I said, we've got swatches in store if you want to choose a colour. You've only got, remember, until Sunday night.
Midnight Monday.
But, it's midnight
Monday. So you can still obviously get in touch via email, although we are closed on a Monday. We still answer the phone. We still answer emails.
I've got something funny. We're just going to jump back to that. Right, so this is Alan talking about. So Stefan only got 86. You got funny one. There
Harry
we go.
Curious to try.
Harry saying curious to try snow. Marine snow. Harry, it's basically it's nothing super special. It's got a little bit of isocrisis in it. It's got a little bit of it's got basically a phytoplankton based thing. But you can also, it's phytoplankton, anacropolis, tetrasalmus, panasalmus, isocrisis, spirulina, seaweed meal. I think that's right. A zooplankton, and it's got citric acid, obviously, to keep it into solution. It's got very few ingredients in it. There's very few additives in it, anything like that. It's between 2 micron and 150 micron, which is why I'm using it. Particularly on my tank where I've got a lot of gorgonians, but it's a very good product, Harry, and it's one that gets overlooked. A lot of Julian's products, to be honest with you, get overlooked, and a lot of that comes down to Julian not really being involved with social media too much these days. We had a chat about that recently. We plan to do a little bit more, maybe on Two Little Fishes as a brand. We think But there's nothing he's ever made that's rubbish. No. Yeah, that's what whether it
even down to his reactors. I mean, Ryland, me, Drippy, and Pelagic Swimmer last weekend when everyone was it last weekend?
Yeah, looking at the calc.
Looking at the calc stirrer. Ryland's recently purchased one, and Drippy, me, and Rob we're looking at build. It's a simple process, and it's but it's just such good quality for a reasonable price.
Yeah, and their Phospan reactor. If you're looking for a new fluidized reactor, by the way, the Phospan is still the best that they're ever.
Been around for ages. We used to stock them years ago.
Certainly at that budget price. Obviously, I like a Deltec reactor if you're looking for something long term. Certainly,
saying, what's this? As Paul's assistant is Connor wearing a skirt. Well, that would be telling, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I hope not. There's your dad sat here with you. Right, doesn't look like Barry's joining us. Where is that? Oh, what we got here? Hold on a minute.
Ian Summers, I think it's just said hello. Hi, Ian.
Yeah, I forgot Paul's at work today.
He's always busy. Even I can vouch for that.
Hi, there we go. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's that one. Oh, hi, both. There we go.
Hi, Ian. Yeah. How you doing, mate?
There we go. And Alan says, you got 4 Phosphans.
Yeah,
they are really good. And hopefully, Alan, we should be able to, spare parts as well. So, yeah. So there we go. We've got someone there.
That's Jason and Debbie.
Yeah. So So I have, just so you know, Debbie and Jason. So I make a bit of a mix up, but just try it by itself first. So when unfortunately, where it's filled up so well, you can't shake the bottle so well. Maybe pour a little bit out first. Give the bottle a seriously good shake, and it will stir what's settling on the bottom up. And then I think it is in my 300 litres. I think I use between 3 and 5 capfuls. Do keep it refrigerated afterwards. But you can not only just use some frozen copepod in it, you could also put in there, for example, a bit of Reef Nutrition Oyster Feast if you want to up the profile, or a bit of Phyto Feast in it as well to bolster it. But it's a really good, what I call souping product. And it's because it's of a range of microns. So you'll see some larger bits. And I even saw my red spot cardinals eating the marine snow.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
What we got there, that's that. I think that's that.
I think we're clear.
So anyway, D&D, 12% off.
There's selected products. So I've obviously said all of the brands that they're doing, but just to rule off a couple of individual products as well that are still under this because they haven't done the whole range. It's on certain selected items. You can get 12% off a KH manager. So if you're looking for a KH tester, but you're not too bothered about anything else, great time to grab one. KH manager work very well.
Saving. How much is one of them?
Now with a new long life probe, I think they're 829.
Yeah, so you're going to get 12% off for that. So it's about 80-90 quid or whatever like that. So that's what I'm getting again. So this is what I was interested in. The reason why I said that we would do this, because there's so much Black Friday nonsense out there. What is really the good deals? And I'll tell you, right, I'm going to use, this is going to be a real heavy one, folks. Give me a second.
Oh no. It's because I've been to the gym today. He's doing
this weekend. Right, frag tanks. Right, so hold it up. Oh, you're too short.
There you go. It's like Simba from Love Island.
Frag tanks. Right, look, nice little frag rack and that in there, ready to go. Right, so
Reef Casa, 20% off the whole lot.
Yeah,
plain and simply. I will say, although we held up a Pico very quickly, we are unfortunately out of stock of them at the moment. They are on order. They should be coming to me in about 6 to 8 weeks.
But you can pre-order as well.
Yeah, you can place a pre-order if need be. But essentially, Reef Casa, it's 20% off any consumables, 20% off aquariums, and obviously 20% off of accessories as well. I do have still plenty of stock for people that are wondering. Plenty of stock of Studio 12s, which is the one near me down at the end of the shop with the NEMs in that are taking over the tank. We're all familiar probably with that tank. It drags a lot of attention. I've got about 8 or 9 of those in stock still. I've just received stock of the Cube 15. So that one I'm on about, it's Bigger Brother, which is a proper cube, bit taller. That one is now in stock as well. It's a great saving.
How much is one of them?
Retail at 249, and you can get it for 200 quid. You get 50 quid off.
Yeah. So as I said, if you're looking for a spare tank, something that's never really discussed about is coral quarantine.
Yeah. Right
now, you're lucky because if you shop with us on corals, we've got Dan here, we've got me here, and all that. we're desperately trying our best to make sure that we don't put coral pests in your bag free with your coral. However, the reality is, we're dealing with live animals, so we can never guarantee it. And if you're serious about corals long term, you would isolate the new corals that you buy, even if it's from your mate and it's frags. The amount of times I've told people about fish diseases, their friend offers them a frag or two, you pick up some frags, you throw it in your tank. You've got no understanding of what the history of that tank is regarding white spot fish diseases and all of that. And you can have perfectly healthy fish swimming around in someone's tank, well, 6 months after a white spot outbreak, but it doesn't mean that the white spot's gone. So you really, even from a fish perspective, from protecting your fish, coral should be isolated ideally. And I would say you probably only need to do that for 2 weeks or something like that. So you don't have to invest huge amounts of money in lighting and things like that. But having something like the little reef casa to settle like a mushroom rock or a soft coral even, depending on the species, isolating corals before putting them in your main display is a sensible thing. Now, if you think that, an average reef tank these days, say if it's a 3-foot tank, for argument's sake, you can have at least £2,000 or £3,000 worth of tank and system there. And by the time you put like about £4,000 or £5,000, this idea that I've not got enough money for a quarantine tank or the room for it, I mean, get over it, find a way. Even if it's a plastic storage box to isolate fish and things like that, doesn't matter what it is. I'm not trying to thumb screw you into buying a tank from us here. I'm just saying that it's worth considering. And Reef Casa is a range that obviously March and from Fragbox and I discuss. The whole concept of that was to get people into the hobby as cheaply as we possibly could.
And I think as a caveat to that, being Christmas time and going back to sort of stocking fillers, and I mean, it's not really a stocking filler, but if you've got people, family members, friends that are maybe looking to get into the hobby, they're a great introduction system to, as we all know, a pair of clowns and an anemone or something similar, or a small soft coral tank. They're a great way to get someone into the hobby and it not cost them a fortune.
Cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we do a lot of high end and a lot of high quality here. I'm not going to profess that the Reef Casa range is the top, the highest quality. But, this was the whole idea was to make it affordable for people, and it's really good. If you've got like Conor was saying, if you've got a family member, we had a gentleman last weekend come in with his young son who wants to get into the hobby. And this Reef Casa tank is the perfect choice. But as I said, it also works really well as a frag tank. If you're ever going to do vendor shows and you want a multiple of them, that's what I envisaged them being good. They're good for frag tanks.
I even had a regular customer of ours who often watches the stream, Jamie Barrett. He brought his mate in who's also looking at setting up for the first time. And again, Reef Casa was mentioned as an
and also if you fancy like me, like I'll just pan the camera over. So 1 second, I'm just going to move the camera again just for a second. This could go horrible. See, look, there's my little Reef Casa over in the corner there. And I've just got a pair of clownfish in there and my Coralado sunburst anemones, which is like a really nice place, because most of us can't have what we really want, can we, in every tank? And I don't want an anemone, flying around on top of me soft and stony corals. It's okay if you've got a soft coral tank, of course, and a few mushrooms or something, but the Reef Casa range really does get you a cheap tank that's stylish as well.
Yep.
And there are a range of really cheap options. We even have a light for the Reef Casa, which is just £120. And it will do. It's perfectly good enough to do most soft corals and anemones and things like that. You might not want it if you're doing stony corals and it's a permanent feature. But, have a look on the Reef Casa Instagram page for some inspiration. I know Josh O's Reef set one up. He
set up a Laguna.
He's a master at it as well. But certainly the Reef Casa range this weekend, you'll get significant saving on, like Connor said. On a 250 quid product, you're going to get 50 quid off. Now, I'll call that substantial.
Yes,
so as I said, in terms of Black Friday off, I think we've more or less now.
There's a couple more.
Well, I'll let you carry on.
This one is a real.
I'll let you carry on. I have a secret fate. Tell anyone.
Right, yeah. So to finish off, we have got Forest that is 25% off.
Sorry.
He's such a honestly.
Yeah,
I can't say words because YouTube is tough.
Yeah.
25% off of consumables and 20% off of rock. So same as I think we did it last weekend for our anniversary. But yeah, Aquaforest, I mean, it's a product range we've recently sort of started stocking properly. And it's something that actually has been really popular with you guys, the customers. It's one that we were asked for on and off quite a lot. And we finally sort of, so we spoke to Christoph, we spoke to Marius, and they've been very, very supportive of the store, actually. So thank you very much to them because they've been a great help as we've been sort of delving into their brand.
It's a range that I never really got into at first. When it was first over Aquaforest, I was a bit on the fence about it because I didn't really trust it, I'll be honest with you. So we never
they know that as well, yeah.
I mean, they're well aware Aquaforest there. I felt about it at the time because I couldn't be sure.
Better late than never.
What have you come to do? Just say goodbye.
Shit, really.
Ultimately,
look who it is.
Afternoon, everybody. Better late than never.
He was just having a nap, really.
I'd like to claim I was working in there, yeah, but while the governor was away, I was just playing, of course.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sure you've probably covered everything off by now. I haven't got too much to say. Mine's erupting at the minute.
No,
really?
No,
we're just waffling on.
Really.
Basically, what we've been doing really is about what we call significant offers, and the fact that ultimately, we've highlighted what we believe is the best savings. And of course, we just said about you're in the middle of doing a DD tank sale, and that was like 12%.
Yes, it was.
Off of that. I mean, do you have like a final figure on that tank? What was that? Just to give people an idea. What did he say? Do you know what he said?
The tank, he saved on that. I think it was getting on 500 quid. I believe it was on the tank itself.
On the Black Friday deals across.
Absolutely. But then, of course, he's had other bits as well. So there's been further savings there as well.
So that was a significant offer. So you reckon that a customer this morning saved about £500?
I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah,
even 200 quid is still a massive
saving now. I've just been,
So we've just gone through basically all of the what we call stuff that's actually really worth buying. If you're interested in upgrading your lights, the Radiant offer's never going to see it ever again. I know that.
That's ridiculous.
We're talking about the Reef Cassers, and I know that Alan has just put up a very good one there.
Oh, that's on the Reef Casser,
if anyone's ever interested in the idea of quarantine or a quicker quarantine, that's a great idea. And as I said as well about coral, isolating corals as well, that's really good. Hi, Joe. How you doing, pal? I dare say you've been busy. I agree with Alan there. It's quite good for a tank transfer method and also isolating corals. But really, I think the long and short of it is I think we've covered most things. Is that you've done Aquaforest. Oh, we was talking about Aquaforest, weren't we? So Aquaforest at first, I didn't really trust it much as a brand. At first, when it first appeared on the scene, I couldn't be sure how they were producing it, what they were doing. And I'm pleased to report, particularly by my Canadian friend March, who visited Aquaforest in Poland, what a facility. I mean, the salt as well, made in-house, and a lot of the products are put together in-house. They're not just imported in and then relabeled and rebadged and what have you. So and
I think it's worth saying as well, actually, I do want to give credit to Christoph and Marius, because I'm sure Barry will agree on our conversations we've had, because actually they have been, considering they're based in Poland, right? They have been to the store 3-4 times now in the last 6 to 9 months, which is amazing. First and foremost, I mean, we don't even see some companies that are based in the UK that often, let alone someone that's over, on the other side, other side of Europe. And they really care
They're
about
very keen for the feedback. They really are, from us and customers. So we are passing stuff on that's coming back. Absolutely.
It's a shame, but there's one product that they do that we've never really been able to bring in the UK, which is really good, and that is their aquariums. But they're just so much money. It's just, I don't think they'd sell.
With all the shipping fees and stuff on it.
But Aquaforest has definitely took a leap,
massive U-turn,
a leap into these 2020s onwards.
I know I've got a couple of big customers, regular customers. I don't know if he's watching today, but Adam Melloy, he's a massive user of Aquaforest. I know he's a big fan of the range.
And they're a budget range as well. So they do suit your pocket. If you are finding it a bit tight with your hobby, the Aquaforest range is really good. We use a lot of frag bases in the farm. The aquarium AF Life Source, there's a product worth talking about. Jamie Craig's highlighted that to me. I think we spoke about it just last week.
I do have to piss on your chips, though. I'm afraid I'm out of stock of it at the the minute. Only the
Sold out.
smaller sizes have
Already?
got. Yeah, but it's already gone.
It's already sold. Right, so I know that we had quite a number of that, and then that's already gone. We've only got the small tubs left, but that works a bit like Miracle Mud, folks. It's basically mud from Fiji, but of course, as Salem will tell you, he also highlighted it while he was over here, and Jamie, there are true marine bacteria in that product, which is why I've sort of mentioned that.
Can help seeding a tank.
Yeah, it can help with maturing the tank or just maintaining the tank. We've got some small tubs. You only need small amounts of it. You don't need to use loads of it. But the bags, I believe, have now gone.
I'm afraid.
But I think
that's it. Last one, probably from me, is Fauna Marin is 15% off as well. Other than that, I'm just checking my notes. Yeah, no, we pretty much covered it all.
So highlights and significant offers for this week. You can't beat the Ion B by Nios. That's a real massive saving. I just read that label actually in there. 20,000 DKH in that one bottle. I mean, that should last you for a while.
144,000 milligrams.
Yeah. The Red Sea dosing rub pumps and electricals, you'll save significant money on those. Of course, it's across all the range, including the consumables. But where you save money, really serious money, is on any new tanks or any new electricals. So it's a good time to buy it. My favourite, not the most expensive one, but I think that every reaper wants one of these for Christmas. And when Barry,
my favourite toy in store at the moment.
He loves it.
So we've actually got an open one. So if you do want to see it, you try before you buy. Come and have a look.
I was going to say on the open front, I've got a few in the Reef Castle. If you come into store over the weekend, if you go towards my area where I pack my parcels and stuff, the Avid Aquas area, there's a couple of that are on the shelving. So if you want to have a play, have a look.
Yeah, it's a bit like Lego. You can join these things together as well, so you can add extra layers to that frag rack. So and they're curved in a deliberate way to allow water to flow over them. There's also a reflective underside and all of that. And of course, like I said, it's a lifetime warranty. I mean, there's not many companies in the fish trade that offer lifetime warranty. So we're very keen to get behind a company that's so cocksure about their product, so to speak. So, maybe I should break one and see if I could revoke that lifetime warranty. Maybe I'll just put an hammer on it or something.
Terence shipping warned if you're watching.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for joining. Sorry about Barry, everyone. I've just
late to the party. I'm sure the guys have already done it. I would like to. Sorry, I'll interrupt. Thank you very much for last weekend.
Yes.
Anyone who was here, I'm sure you guys have already mentioned it. Honestly, superb. I had the party of my life. You probably all tell, running around with a beer for most of the day. I'm sure I served one or two of you, but probably not as many as I should have. Looking forward to going again this weekend. See you all in store. I've noticed there's a couple of you guys, you may or may not be watching now, purchasing discount cards online, ready to collect in store over the weekend, so you qualify for your extra discount. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you ever so much. They're down for collection. We got them all out and sorted for you.
Yeah, so just to go over that again, 15% for club card holders only on Marine Fish. So you're going to get an extra 5% this weekend to make up for last weekend's chaos. So an offer for all of you, club card holders or otherwise, is 25% of corals. There are thousands of decent corals out there. I don't think any of you have ever visited AAC have a complaint about the selection that we have. Past the ones that we're not allowed to have. So, as I said, it's a really significant savings and a decent Black Day weekend offer. Like I said, no DFS sales here where they're pretending that it's on sale. It's all on sale. And if there's something that you really wanted, realistically, I mean, there are brands we can't do sales on, those imported products like Royal Exclusive, for example. Tons is tight, I'm afraid. We got very little maneuver on that. But if there is a particular product you're looking for, at least try, at least ask. It doesn't hurt to ask.
What's your favourite line? If they don't mind them asking, what's the words you say?
Look, if you don't mind the answer, then I don't mind the question. It's
always
my line.
It's always worth asking.
Always ask the question as long as you're prepared for the answer sometimes. And you know what I'm getting at, guys. It's always a good bit of banter. Absolutely. Please do ask.
Yeah. Okie doke. So, old Joe's just gonna leave this go for stupid
Northern monkey that he is.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid Tesco club cards won't cut it.
Nectar card.
Not unless you use your Tesco's club card to buy a big bottle of something decent to bring in, then use it. That might work. Anyway, folks, thank you so much again for joining Friday. I think we'll have to think of some subjects. If any of you've got any ideas or anything you'd like to hear about the AAC team, I did think about doing interviews with each member of staff and maybe explaining about their background and what they bring to AACs. Maybe that's an idea. But if you'd like a Friday regular, let me know. We can afford an hour on a Friday, not much. Is it an hour and a half?
It is today.
Right. So anyway, thanks very much, and we'll say goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a good weekend,
we'll
guys.
see some of you over the weekend.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.